So I think we should go straight into it. As I said earlier, I'm joined by her wonderful, her empress, the one and only Victoria Washiga Wagashohe Bahati.
Thank you.
So Victoria, so today our topic is simple, is finances in marriage. Finances in marriage. So let me start by asking Victoria. First of all, how did you get married? Let's start from there.
Hey, what a question. It wasn't part of my script.
I like.
How did
know.
I get married?
Yeah.
Wow, you know that's a movie, eh?
Don't give us the whole script. Just
Yeah.
give us a teaser.
How did I get married? I knew I wanted to get married, number one. And one of the things that I was sure about, I wanted to get married to a man who's stronger than me, who has a stronger personality than mine. Because I knew if I get phlegmatics, I have nothing against you. But if I knew if I get married to a phlegmatic, I'll be the man in the house. And I didn't want that.
You do want to be the man in the house.
No. And growing up in a family where women look like they're leading, they're literally on the forefront, that's one of the things I didn't want to carry forward. So that's what I knew I wanted to. That's how I knew I wanted to get married. I was ready. I wanted a man who is stronger than me. And also, of course, Christianity, it has to be.
It's non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. And a white wedding was also non-negotiable. So anyone who came close to me, or we crossed our paths, they knew that a white wedding was non-negotiable. So there's no way I was going to move in with someone. So how I got married is...
By a white wedding, you mean church wedding?
Yes, church wedding. Yes. So that was non-negotiable.
You didn't want just to elope?
No.
Had you tried?
No, I've never tried eloping. I've
kept-
never lived with someone.
What kept you from eloping?
Again, I come from a family that has no wedding, so it had to end with me. Some of these things had to end with me.
Your parents eloped?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't
Actually,
know that.
I think there's only one wedding that has happened in my family on both sides. No, two weddings on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side. So it was like, we have to have pee in our gate and moo in my father's compound. Yes.
On my case, it's the opposite. My parents did a good wedding many years ago. And yeah, your kids will be there someday. I'm sure many of us identify with Victoria more than me.
Yeah.
How many identify with Victoria, by the way? Let me see. Her story is similar to your story. How many identify with me? Your parents had a wedding. Okay, how many of you do not know where you lie? Like, Cess, I'm not seeing you. I'm asking one more time. How many identify with Victoria? Ah, amazing. How many identify with me? How many don't know where they lie? Ah, amazing. So, yeah. So if you identify with me, it must continue. If you identify with Victoria, it must be
ends
there.
with us.
It must end. It ends with you. We cannot continue. So, so how long have you been married?
Turning 7 in next month.
Oh, 7. Next month?
Well, which month are we in? June, in August.
In August. So we'll be married for 7 years.
For 7 years. The number of completion.
7 is the number of completion. And how have those years been?
In terms of?
Of course, everything. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, I think I have enjoyed being married, but I have to admit that the first 5 years was really hard for us, for both. I know you also can agree to this.
No, mine was okay.
Usidanganyane mbele ya kamera.
Mine was okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to say that marriage, it has been a good thing all throughout those 7 years. But I have to say the first 5 were just crazy.
There was something.
They were just something. So I keep telling him I got married last year. Yeah. The good marriage started last year. So I'm 2 years married, in short.
Did you just say that on camera? Can you guys delete that part?
Yeah, of course.
Is it possible? Okay, I'm kidding. So yeah, so anyway, marriage is like that. Marriage has the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-betweens. So with marriage comes many things. And one of the things that comes with marriage is now you have to have shared finances. In fact, not shared, I would call them one poach. So many years ago, Pastor Joy taught me something about finances and marriage. Told me there are people who have did 2 or 3 types. The Githeri, do you remember? There was the Githeri type of finances. There was the you keep yours, I keep mine finances. And then there was we mix everything kind of finances. There are names she had given them. So the Githeri type of finances is where you bring your money, I bring my money, but we all know this has come from you and this has come from you. You see how Githeri and Githeri is a mixture of
Beans and maize.
beans and maize. So you can tell this is bean, this is maize. So in that context, Pastor V, my lovely wife, brings her share, I bring my share. But we are all aware, this is Pastor V's share, and this is my share. That's the first way. The second way is, she brings her money, I bring my money. She keeps her money, I keep my money. So we just split responsibility. We say, wewe, rent, maji, na stima. Mimi, school fees, chakula, na diaper. That's the second way. The third way is where we all bring our money together and changanya it. So there is no, you brought 70,000, me I brought 30,000. It's, our money is 100,000. So we chose to go with the last part of our money is 100,000. So it's not like your money and my money, or I know your share, you know my share. No, it's we've brought our money together and we use it. Now, I want you to know that none of the methods is wrong. All of them are right.
Yeah.
But some are more profitable than others. You understand? All of them have pros and cons. If you choose to take what we chose as our path, both of you must be honest to each other. We know stories of people
Yes.
who they do that, but one party feels aggrieved. One party is enjoying, feeling nice. When they want to go out, they have the money because they're the ones controlling, and most of the time it's always the mind. And then the girl is on the other side is feeling like, yo, I bring in money, but I can't even go out. I can't eat what I want to eat.
I can't have nice clothes.
I can't have nice clothes. So all of you must be honest. You must be caring for each other. You must be aware that we are in this together and we need to be concerned about each other. So that's basically, that's like the foundational information on finances in marriage. So let me go straight into it now. What was your mindset of finances growing up?
I think growing up in a family where we had enough, I can't say I come from a poor family.
Neither do you come from a rich
Neither
family.
do I come from a rich family. I come from a family that we just had enough.
Surviving.
Yeah, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So, being in such a family, if I need something, it's given.
In fact, I remember some years ago you told me in your village, because Victoria is a village girl. So she told me in her
Yeah, and I'm
village-
proud of it.
Yeah. Being a village, by the way, when we want to marry, we go for village girls.
Because this is ndio kitu.
If you notice, all the girls who are married are from the village. The only one who is married and not from the village is Joy, but her behaviors are from the village. Her behaviors are village-like. So she told me in her village, it was rare to have,
Two parents working.
yeah, so, yeah.
So it was very rare in my village. The people who come from my village know that very well. So having parents who are both working, it was such a big deal, and everyone thought we had made it in life. Yeah, because again, most of the people, especially when I was younger, staying in a house that has tiles, that is cemented, was such a big deal. And actually also having houses that are cemented outside, it was such a big deal.
Allah,
Like, how are you living such a life?
what a village.
Yeah, so we all knew that men are the ones who go out to work and women were housewives. So because I think my mother really understood that, she made it clear to me that we are not taking you to school to be a housewife. You have to get out of yourself and do something with your life. Yes. So because of now growing up in such an environment, and having parents who are never telling you, like, when you need something, it's given. Especially with my dad, because he never really used to stay with us. He never used to come home every day, because now he used to work in Nairobi, and we're living in Nyeri. So I think because of that part of, he's never there for us every day. Anytime we wanted anything, it was always provided. Even if he didn't have money, for example, on Sunday when he's going back, you tell us, by Tuesday, you'll have this thing that you want. If it's money, if it's anything.
By the way, it's good you know that the father was a policeman.
Yes.
So if he says by Tuesday, you know what he's going to do. You know what he means by Tuesday?
Do you realize you're on air?
I'm glad you realize what he means by Tuesday you'll have the money. Kuna mtu atalia mahali.
But at least by then there was no maandamano,
Yeah.
so you know.
Yeah.
Yes. So now growing up in such an environment, and also having a mother who's also working, who is ready to give you everything you need, I knew that money will always be there.
So that's the first mindset you have
That's
about
the
money.
first mindset. Money will always be there. They never taught me about saving. I only remember my mom telling us, you need to save, you need to save. And I think the only person who actually got that was my youngest brother, Eddie. Eddie got it. Because again, when Eddie was coming, we were coming from a point of abundance, which you'll get to understand later as we continue. But for me and Brian, we really struggled when it comes to savings. Because everything is there. Yeah, apart from that, the only thing she told us we need to tithe, but she never told us how much you need to tithe.
So it was for you to decide.
It was for you to decide. And most of the times, if you give 1,000, you've tithed.
Wow.
Yes, I hope my mother never gets to watch this.
Maybe she also didn't know.
She also didn't know, I'm sure. And what else? The only part she made it very clear, when she gave us money for offering, she used to give us 100 bob per person. So she would tell us 50 bob is for your own needs, and the other 50 bob is for offering. So we never got to a place where we were eating offerings, because we already had.
Me on the other side, my story was different. First of all, I don't have the mindset that money will always be there, because I didn't see money as much. Of course, I saw my parents surviving here and they are paying school fees. But after I grew up, looking back, I realized they were able to pay school fees and do all that through loans. So it's not like we were balling. It was one loan here, paying for this loan here, picking a loan here, paying there. So me as a child, I feel like my parents are balling. Kumbe, they are
choking on loans.
They are choking on loans. They are taking this little money here to pay this debt here, to take another loan here, to pay for my school fees. So I didn't have the mindset that money will always be there. And then on finances, on offerings rather, me, I used to be given 50 bob.
I'm praying for our son.
50 bob those days was a lot of money. And we'll be told that is 50 shillings. So my folks did not teach me about tithing, even though they were Christians. My parents were missionaries, you know. But they didn't teach me about tithing. So they would give me money to take to God. But now, I also have needs. How many understand what I'm saying? I have needs of something called ice cream. I don't know whether you guys had that ice. You know,
But you should have asked for that money for ice cream.
I'm going somewhere. And you see, we don't come from the same home.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, sir.
In your home, you can ask. In my home, the story is quite different. Ask as who. So now, kuna your ice. So now what I would do is, because I also have needs, first of all.
Those are ones.
Once, okay, actually once. And then they're not giving me the permission to, or they're not giving me money for these ones. So what I would do is, I would cut a part of the offering. Niseme, before Mungu achukue yote, acha nichukue kidogo. Because it looks like God wants all the money and he forgets that I have need. So I started eating my offering. So I would give 30 bob, or maybe 40 bob, and then 20 bob. When I'm going home, I go to that guy. They used to sell them at 1 bob, I think, or something like that. Boss, I would buy like 20 of them. 20, I would put them here, and then you know they are cold, eh? So you can imagine the type of cold you're feeling and the freezing. But it would not, the freezing had nothing to do with the sweetness. So I would rather feel cold, but enjoy my sweetness. So there I am. All the way, all flavors. I have strawberry, I have sijui what. Recently, when we had the sports weekend, football, some guys brought me that thing. What do we call it?
Ice pop.
Ice pop. I said, man, this thing is sweeter than our days. But our days, because the money is first of all from a wrong source, it was sweeter. The Bible says stolen waters are sweet. So that was my mindset, that God takes money, yote, and he doesn't mind your finances. So first of all, chukua yako before achukue yote. So basically that was the mindset I had about money. And then I don't remember my parents sitting me down and teaching me about money, to be honest. I just remember when I went to high school, I would be given like 1,500 bob for my pocket money and fare. And by the way, that was a lot of money. Stop looking at me like that. 1,500, man. You know, you guys were used to being given 10,000 per month. Yeah, there's a lady I know. She might be watching now. She used to get 10,000 per week.
Per week.
10,000 per week. Pocket money, man. So me, 1,500, I'm a baller in that school. I can even buy the whole school mandazi. So when I went to high school, I started teaching myself how to save. So what would I do? Of course, my parents would buy me clothes, but they would not be buying me the type of clothes I want. They were going to buy me. So, do you know those jeans that had a 05?
Yeah.
And they were shino. Those type of jeans. And me, I didn't like those jeans. Because now I'm a high schooler. Those jeans are good for... Yeah, I want the trendy ones. So I would save and then go to Gikosh. I remember the first time I took myself to Gikosh, I was so proud. I went and bought t-shirts for 50 bob, 100. I came with clothes like this. Hey, my parents asked me, where did you get all this money? Oh, when I went to school, I was saving, I was not eating a lot. Oh, so the next time, instead of them saying congratulations, they say, oh, so you guys look like you had a lot of money. So they reduced the money.
They withdrew.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I still saved. That's how I learned how to save.
Wow.
So I started saving from my own initiative.
Must be nice. And for me, I think my mom, because she used to come to school almost every week, because she used to be part of the BOG, I think I used to get pocket money every week. So I knew I would spend money. Next week, my mom is going to come, is going to bring me grabs, is going to bring me money.
They don't know what grabs is.
Oh, grabs. Okay. Grabs mean snacks. We used to call them grabs.
Nowadays, we used
to
call them grabs, yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
snacks.
that explains to me why you had this mindset that you can never be poor.
I can never be poor.
Because money was in constant supply.
Money was in constant supply in our life. And then I remember, for us, my dad did something that was quite profound, and I thank him for that. Every holiday, we never used to stay in Shags. He used to call us to Nairobi. So because of that, we were like Pastor Joy's family. And I remember one time, he was working at Gigiri. And I remember him driving us around Gigiri, Red Hill, all those areas, telling us, you see...
In a police car.
Of course.
It's good you say it. It's good you say it.
Well, it's not the Mariamu type.
The Mariamu.
No. It wasn't the Mariamu type. My dad used to be... That time they used to be called CID. How do they call them nowadays?
Now they are called DCI.
DCI. They are now DCI. So in those, those private cars, and there's number plates. Anyway, those kind of cars. So he used to take us around, tell us, you see, there's a better life than what the kind of life you live. And also being exposed to, you would be taken to different nice places. So I grew up knowing that's actually where I got the desire to work in the UN. Because he literally took me to UNEP and told me, I would like you to work here, because if you get to this place, you become an expatriate, you drive big cars, you earn a lot of money, you travel all over the world. He's the one who birthed that dream. So I knew he can't, my father cannot believe in me so much and then I become poor. And he has also shown me that there's a better life to what we're living. So I believe that we can never be poor. And then again, he has never told me he doesn't have money.
So the thing I'm seeing is they gave you the mindset and the idea that money will always be there.
Yes.
You can never be poor.
Yes.
But they didn't teach you how
to save.
How to keep the money.
Yes.
What a paradox.
I know.
So that was, you knew money will always be there.
Yes.
I cannot be poor.
Yes.
But you did not know how to save the money.
How to save the money.
So what was your turning point?
My turning point, let's start with campus. So in campus, we get to campus. You see now, campus, money has to be constant. I remember, because of,
you're a comrade.
You're a comrade, you want to go out like your friends. And for some reason, I never used to hang out with people from the village. For some reason.
Of course, at high school, what was go?
No,
so
I
get
think
it.
Not really because of that. I think my mindset was just different, because even when we go to high school, they used to have an issue with me because I'm not hanging out with them. And for them, they want to stay in crowds, how we came from primary
Oh,
school.
those,
And me,
the hard mentality.
exactly. And me, I'm like, I came to high school to enjoy myself, to have new friends and such. So when I got to campus,
That's a good mindset.
yeah. So when I got to campus, life is lifing, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have the best clothes, you need to have a nice phone, go out every weekend. So there's this one time I remember I was in first year, that second sem. No, not first year, second year. First sem. And I call my dad, I'm like, oh, I need money. And he tells me he has no money.
But he says, nipatie mpaka saa tano.
Yeah, I'm used to, if you don't have money, like you're telling me, you're gonna give me money at this time.
Saa tano usiku.
Like, ningoje saa tano ama saa tatu, ama at 4, by 4 I'll have sent you the money. Now he's telling me, I'm gonna send you money. I mean, I don't have money. Okay, then, like, there's something else you need to say. He didn't say anything. I'm like, Victoria, I don't have money. And he stopped it at that. I always remember where I was at in school to date. Let me tell you, my heart crashed. I'm like, this man no longer loves me. I'm now a liability. You know, I remember calling my mom while crying. And I was like, imagine dad told me he doesn't have money, and he didn't tell me he's going to send me at this time. That crushed me. And then now my mom realized, yeah, this girl is actually heartbroken. Know what she do? Now she started teaching me in my pain that, by the way, there are days we don't have money. You see, for mothers, we're used to them not having money. I hope I'm not such a mother.
All mothers and wives. You know, now I get it. I see, I've never quite understood it, but now I see where it comes from.
Yeah, so...
It's generic. Yeah. It's something inborn. Yes. Because my wife will never have money. I'll give her money now, and then the next minute, babe,
because...
unaweza tulipia hii kitu. But just gave you money. And now I see it. It's something we inherit. You also don't know how it happens.
Yeah, so my mom had to actually really teach me about it. And she actually, I think, she just sent me money. So from there, we started having, quote unquote, a strained relationship with my dad. Because every time I want to call him, I'm like, I'm just remembering you told me you don't have money. Like, how can you not have money? You've never told me you don't have money.
You're only girl.
I'm just a girl, you know? I'm the only girl. How do you tell me you don't have money? So I think that started changing my life. But it didn't really change it. It started changing my mindset that sometimes there's no money. And I think by the time we were getting to high school, that's what we're going to talk about it later, something happened towards the end of my primary and high school that made me realize, by the way, pesa inakosanga. So, after that, what changed me, the other thing that changed me, one of the people I follow lost their husband at a very prime time of their lives. And I was like, no. The first thing that happened, I turned 30. And when I turned 30, I'm like, everyone is saying, you're in the decade of sprouting. I called myself for a meeting and showed up, and there was no vurugu. When I called myself, I asked myself, Victoria, you've turned 30, the decade of sprouting. What exactly is sprouting? What exactly is supposed to... Something has to sprout, right?
Apart from your husband, of course.
Of course. Apart from my husband. So, as Victoria, what's sprouting in your life? And I looked at
Your weight.
Apart from my weight, we are talking about finances.
You said okay, fine.
Let's not miss the point.
Okay.
So I looked at my finances. Number one, I went to my M-Pesa, what is that thing called?
Ledger.
Ledger. I looked at it and I'm like, I think I had over 1 million shillings that I had spent in the last 6 months. And I'm like, I don't even have 10% of this amount of money. Where is the money going? I don't even have 0.1% of this money. Where is the money going? Slowly by slowly, I started reading about money. And the other thing that happened, another man of God died. And it hit me. God forbid, but my husband might die someday before I do.
Okay, the other way.
I said might, underline might.
Okay.
Because anything can happen, right?
Yeah,
anyone can go before the other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the kind of life he's put us in, am I able to pay for my kids' school fees? Will I be able to sustain the kind of lifestyle we live in? Will I be able to fuel the car, take it to the garage, all those things? And when I looked at this lady, she looked like life was continuing nicely. She was traveling all over the world. She was buying new cars. I'm like, wow. Me, where I am, if we are to be left today, I'll go back to my mother's house. And I knew something had to change. And also seeing our kids growing, I'm like, wow. We live with a certain girl, and I have to constantly show her, as a girl, you have to constantly show her that you can't just stay at home. You have not come all the way to just be staying like that. Something has to change. And because I am the only person she is seeing, I have to be a good role model to her. Yeah. And also when my dad also died, I was like, I saw how my mom was very frugal and how she invested the money she got. And I'm like, if it were me, would I have done the same thing? Because she's retiring this year, she's at a good place right now. So I asked myself,
what will be my story?
Like, what will be my story? And that was a turning point for me.
The thing about money is nobody has a lot of money and nobody has kidogo money. The difference between a lot of money and kidogo money is management, stewardship.
Yes.
If you're not a good steward, I remember Paps one time told me, boss, akunanga mingi money. That's how he said it. Akunanga mingi money. Because he was showing me, you see that guy was a billionaire. But that guy, he told me akunanga mingi money because he gave his children or something money and then it danced down. So the billionaires went from billions in their account to zero. So there's no mingi money and kidogo money. The difference between mingi and kidogo is stewardship. So me on my end, in my book, what was my breaking point? So first of all, my mother has managed to raise us because, of course, I don't know my biological father, so I've been raised up by a stepfather, and my mother was the sole breadwinner. So my mother has managed to ngangana here and there. She has raised us, paid school fees through loans, bought property, built through loans. So me, I know, even if I don't aim for public uni, my mother used to work in a uni. I'm going to go straight to a uni because in that uni, they used to educate staff children at 0% rate, or some of them 50%. So me, I knew if I just finish like this, me siendi ngangania siju kuingia UON kuteseka. I'm going to a private uni. And that time, that uni was
the IT.
It was among the top unis in Kenya. Then I finished high school like this, and then in November, so we used to finish in November.
Yeah. Then
my mother is on leave, I think for like the last 2 weeks of November and the whole of December. So kidogo I come home, we are chilling, then she says, we've been abruptly called for a meeting to work, so we are going to see what's happening. So they go. Kidogo, she comes back home. She tells us, can you imagine we've been retrenched? There was no fununu. There was no announcement. There was nothing. So it was just abrupt. And we've been told we've been given this X amount of money, and that's all we are going to survive with, and we have loans. So I've opted this amount of money to go to the loans so that I'm left with little but sinner loan, because loan they can come and take everything here. That's what she used to say. So she pays loan. Then in the course of time, she falls into depression. Because of course she was used to a huge salary. If the salary is not enough, she had a sacco she can borrow from. She had banks she could borrow. Those days they were kunanga cash. Those things, those mobile money, it was just institutions. So she could borrow to top up here and all that. And all of a sudden now that kind of income is not there. And Boni also had dreams of joining uni, especially a private uni. So I did not even work hard to be admitted in a public uni because I didn't see the need. Because I was assured, I had seen others do the same thing. And I knew like the children of my mother, my mom's colleagues. So I knew it was sure. They had told me when I went to Form 4, they took my details. So I knew it was given. So I didn't put in much effort. Kidogo, she's retrenched. And then she tells me, now, you see your younger brother is in high school, So So you have to allow me to find a way first we pay his school fees. So mahali umefika, Mungu anaweza kufikisha.
Ng'ang'anie.
Mungu ndiye ataendelea na wewe. Mungu ndiye kufikisha hapo. Wewe unaweza endelea. So at the age of 16, was it 16? Yes. I have to start finding for myself. So what do I do? First of all, at that time I give my life to Jesus. Shida is good, eh?
Yeah, takes you to the cross.
Takes me to the cross. So I give my life to Jesus. I start serving in church. Actually, no, before I give my life to Jesus, she's the one who took me to church. So you remember in Form 2. So now I've given my life to Jesus, not in Jesus. I've given my life to Jesus already in, I think, Form 2 there. And now I'm beginning to become serious because I can see if I don't become serious, seriousness is going to eat me. So I better become serious. So I become serious. So fast forward, she becomes depressed. She falls sick. Eventually she dies. When she dies, hit number 2. The little we used to have disappears. So now, I remember at one point, it was so bad that our shamba, those of us who have been to my father's place, there's a kashamba at the back. We used to pray it rains so that nini zime, terere zime. Then we would chuna terere. You know what terere is? What do we call terere in English?
Amaranthus.
Traditional greens.
Called amaranthus.
Amaranthus. Like for real?
Yeah.
Eh?
That's the science name, guys.
It's called what? Pigweed.
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 Yes.
We were eating weeds.
Yeah, they're called pigweeds.
They're called pigweeds.
Yeah.
Okay, you know pigweeds? Terere. So we would harvest many of them, put them in plastic bags, and then stuff them in the fridge. So our fridge was the only thing that is there is pigweeds.
Oh, yeah.
On the upper freezer and the lower, yeah, those ones on the screen right now. On the lower component of the fridge. And then all we'll do is now get wunga to eat. I remember we ate this thing for 2 years. 2 years. And it was sweet. Kwanza ukuwa na avocado.
You don't have a choice. There's no choice.
Of course, that's why it is sweet.
Yeah.
You have to like it. If you don't like it, it must be sweet. If you don't like it, you'll sleep hungry.
Yeah.
I remember the first days, my brother would say, oh, me, I don't need... I said, why? Your mother is dead, and nobody is coming to help you. So you better learn to eat this. The next time I came, I found him, he knows how to cook it. He knows how to cook them and even cook ugali. And he's the one who didn't know how to cook me. I don't like cooking. So I think...
brother.
Yeah, that was my turning point now. I realized, something must give.
Do you feel like that gave you trauma to some degree?
Of course. Boss, hey, I don't like these things. I don't like pigweeds. And to some degree, it gives you financial trauma. You start thinking, hey, you see how you saw your parents work hard, then almost at the end of their life, they don't have money.
Crumbling down.
Yeah, so at the back of your mind, you almost feel like, hey, can that be my story? That we give our best in our youth, and then at the end of it. So I'm sure you also have traumas. Stop looking at me as if
I have traumas.
Yeah.
For me, it came with my grandparents on both sides. When I was in class 4 and 5,
Yeah.
my dad's mom got sick, and that was pre-NHIF. And of course, parents being parents,
Yeah.
children being children, allow me to call them children for now because this is the parent who's sick. They want to chip in and take him to a good hospital so that he's treated. So he goes to this nice hospital. Of course, money is getting in. They take him to a private hospital. Money is being drained every day. That was the first time. There was like a shake-up kidogo. That didn't even shake up up sana. When I got to class 6, class 7, my dad's mom falls sick. At this point, she has cancer.
Yeah.
She has what's blood cancer is leukemia.
Yeah.
Leukemia and diabetes. So she has to come to Kenyatta private wing every week. No, after every 2 weeks. So again, there's no insurance. They have to get back to
No, there's
pocket.
insurance. The children.
The children, yeah. The children were the insurance.
In those days, they used to educate you so that you take care of them.
Yes. So I remember things got so bad that the only thing we could eat, you see, for them it was terere. For us it was ndengu. Leo mnakula ugali ndengu, kesho chapati ndengu. The other time.
Chapati ndengu.
No, listen.
Is that trauma?
Oh, wait.
Chapati ndengu. No. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. Let's be serious.
No, listen. You're missing the point.
Okay, I get it. We all suffer. Bushy people suffer differently.
My point is, we ate ndengu every day for a whole 6 months.
Of course, with chapati ndengu.
No.
Chapati ndengu. Hey, chapati ndengu. So you guys are suffering. I would like to let you know, because I know you eat chapati ndengu almost every day. You are in your suffering era. You're in your suffering era. According to, of course.
No, I think again, it's how we had been brought up. So, kwetu ndengu.
Yeah, that's true. To be honest, if chapati ndengu is suffering, then you guys must have been somewhere else. If we got that
again, remember, growing up, for me, I really loved meat when I was young. So my dad decided there'll be meat in this house every day. So for us to eat ndengu, it's really bad.
I get it.
Things are really, really bad.
Yeah.
For 6 months, it got me to a place where even in my business, I don't sell ndengu. It's that bad. I don't think we've ever cooked ndengu in my house.
I've tried to say cook for me ndengu.
I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah. So that was really bad for us. 6 months of, and then constantly being told there's no money. To date, I remember one time I was having a conversation with my father, and just the other day, and my spiritual father that is, and we were having a conversation, and at some point he just made fun of it and like, you know what, I don't have money for this thing. It stressed me out. And I remember I came to talk to you about it. It stressed me out because how are you saying you don't have money? Because again, remember where the trauma is taking me to. Yeah, so even for him, I don't like it when he says he doesn't have money, because I remember ndengu.
Pray for me. You can see the burden on my shoulder. I'm relying on your prayers.
So for me, I think for that, because of that trauma, it has constantly made us to have medical insurance. So that is something we not negotiate about, because I know it can be.
I remember one time when my mother was unwell, boss, we went to, poverty is bad. Poverty. You should hate poverty. Hate it with everything. Shout, I hate poverty.
I hate poverty.
Don't be poor. Don't be. So become a good financial steward. Don't be poor. So my mother gets unwell. So we are supposed to go to hospital. Then we go to Kenyatta. Boss, we get there at 7 in the evening or 8 in the evening. The following day at noon, nobody has touched us. Nobody has touched us. We're just looking. We are being told, sijui the queue, sijui what, this is not working. Systems are not working. And she's there withering in pain. I remember recently we went to see someone at Kenyatta. I went to that spot where I was seated with her on that green lawn, because she was lying down and I was seated. And I remember when I was seated there, I said, I will never be poor again. I said, if I was not poor, and that time I'm maybe 19 there. Yeah, 19, 18. I said, if I was not poor, this woman would have been to Nairobi Hospital or some other hospital. Aga Khan should have been treated. Because I knew if she'd have been treated, she would have lived. But poverty, I think that's one of my financial traumas. So I try my best to, as she said, there are things that I don't like them being negotiated, because I think it's from that space of that trauma. So now, of course, in our marriage, being married for 7 years, we've made a lot of financial mistakes. So I want you to learn from our mistakes. So what are some of our financial mistakes?
Number one, not being on the same page as a couple.
Not being on the same page as a couple. Financially, that is.
Financially, yes. I remember this one time. This story was given on Sunday. My dear husband comes.
This is her version.
Yeah, this is my version.
But my version is more accurate.
And remember, women don't.
This might be exaggerated.
Forget.
Just a disclaimer.
In the year of our Lord 2020, we are 2 years in marriage. He meets one of his friends and he tells him, oh, there's this kind of deal, there's this kind of investment, we just need to give 120, and I think in a span of 3 months, it's gonna multiply by 3, something like that. And I was like, are you sure? I was like me, when I'm not sure about something, I'll just be like, And then he kept insisting and insisting and insisting. I was like, okay, you do your thing. But I knew for sure. Because, again, let me give you a backstory of this. I remember when 2006, 2007, there was something called DESI. I don't know if some of your parents joined DESI.
These ones don't know anything.
Oh, my God.
So, in 2006,
You're
there were 5 years.
just reminding me I'm a millennial.
This
Anyway.
was 2000. You were born in 2002, most of you, right? 2000. So there were 5 years, so I'm sure.
So there was something called DESI. DESI was a pyramid scheme.
I know nothing.
And I remember my mom especially.
Do you know a pyramid scheme? Do you know a pyramid
scheme?
scheme?
Pyramid scheme. Okay. She had joined a pyramid scheme, and I remember her taking a loan of a lot of money. And she had been told that every month you'll be getting 10% of this amount.
My Lord.
And 10% was good money because it could pay for all our school fees. And she still remained with money. So she had invested good money. She got the money first month. As usual, you don't take the first interest, right? Second month, she says, let it compound.
It's always the what do we call it? The temptation.
The temptation. By the 5th month, she had lost her interests and her principal. So because of that, I had that in mind. And I remember how it also took us aback that...
To recover, because now from Form 1, that is the first time my parents, I think, ever took a loan. And then from there, we really struggled, to be honest. So because of that, I had that in mind. That was quote-unquote like a trauma. So when you come up with the same idea with different whatevers, it didn't sit well with me. But I was like, you know what? You try. So after like 6 months, I asked him, by the way, ile pesa yetu imefika wapi? He just kept quiet, and I knew pesa ilikunywa maji. That I have cut the long story short. So I think on my side was, we are always a bit skeptical about doing online shopping, especially for, these shops in town and all. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
That was then. We were always.
Yeah.
So this one time, we were going to this wedding, to nasimamia hii harusi. And then because I have a small baby, I don't have the luxury of time going everywhere to get these things, I see a very nice shoe.
First of all, I have a dream about it.
No, the dream comes later.
Oh, okay.
So, at this point, he tells me, hey, these online shopping things, I really don't trust them. I'm like, the shop is in Syokimau. I've looked for this particular shoe. It's not there. Where is the shop? Gateway Mall. So, I order for the shoe and ask them, is it available? Yes. I get to town. I pay for the shoe. It's supposed to get to town. By the time I'm getting to town, I'll get the shoe.
Yeah.
By the time I'm getting to...
Yeah, the one who goes to pick the shoe.
Wilson.
And it's online delivery.
Yes. Wow. No, I had the runs in town, so that's where I was going. So when I get to Wilson, I try texting this guy. No response. I try calling him. No response. Let me tell you, my 5,000 shillings went like that. It drank water, literally. So I don't tell him. I don't say it on that day. How do you say you've been warned about this thing?
I have told you, do not buy online.
Even
by that time, online was just starting.
Yes.
It was not as legit as now.
So even if it was you, would you say, thanks? So I went to another shop.
You see all the gangsters, what I've said? You see the gangsters where they are agreeing with you. If it was you, would you say, no? Those are gangsters. Men, beware. Beware.
So I go to this other shop and I get a shoe.
A lower quality.
Of course, a lower quality.
And a cheaper price.
Remind me what happened. We get to the wedding. Just the previous night it rained. When I was stepping on the mud, before I got to the end of the aisle, My shoe breaks. How much have I lost again? Another 5,000. So we come back home and he says, babe, I've dreamt about you losing money. Have you lost money? I just laughed. No, it was a text first, so I didn't respond. So he comes home and tells me, babe, have you read my message? I'm like, no, but I had seen the message. You can't have read the message.
Wow. Woman of God. Have you read the message? No.
But see, we are trying to be real. Thanks. Anyway, he tells me, by then I had a dream of you being conned. I just laughed.
I say beware.
Yeah.
Because I think, my mind is telling me it has not happened.
Yeah.
It is maybe gonna happen.
Yeah.
Kumbe.
Now the problem is the Lord is still dealing with my face. It still needs deliverance. He just saw my face and was like, okay, tell me the story. I told him, let me tell you, he laughed. He laughed. So you've lost 5,000 and you've come back with a shoe that is already broken. So in short, you've lost 10,000. So I think those are some of the things.
So mistake number 1, not being on the same page or as a couple financially. Don't go ahead and do anything if the both of you are not in agreement. The Bible says, the Lord commands a blessing where there is unity. So try and be on the same page financially as a couple first. Mistake number 2, not being financially intelligent. And that is not for me. You know who we are talking about.
Well, in a Kalon confession time. And for me, again, remember I've grown up knowing money will always be there. So I'm like, what's the fuss about saving? See, money will always be there. Money comes and goes. So for him, he's the kind who will even save 5 shillings. Even if if someone was able to save 1 bob, he would save the bob, to be honest. For me, on the other side, I did not understand why I need to save because he's saving for us. Aren't we one?
And by the way, many marriages are like this. There is the spender and the saver.
And the saver. So I was the spender. But the Lord has really delivered me. We will get there. So I really never used to understand why we really need to save a lot of money. So most of the times, I'll get my stipend. Funny thing, I've never struggled with tithing by the grace of God.
You were taught since you were a child.
At least I was taught how to tithe. I have always been faithful with God's money. So
Victoria has a mantra. If the money does not solve your problems,
eat that money.
if the money does not solve your problems, eat that
money.
That was her slogan.
Yeah, but now I think
her philosophy of life.
Yes, so it continued like that for so many years. But then I got to a place where it was just like, no, I can't continue like this. My 30 taught me I can't continue like this. So we used to fight a lot about it.
Yeah, because you used to think I'm stingy.
Yeah, because, again, why you, like...
Why are we saving? Why are we saving?
You understand? Like, why?
Why are we denying ourselves?
Like, I only need 5,000 shillings, even if you are saving. 5,000, will it buy that car?
Wow. It's 1 million minus 5,000.
But it didn't make sense. It's only 5,000. So we didn't buy that. Just give me the money. Let me go spend it. And then we will figure out how to bring it back.
Does it make sense now?
Yes, it does make a lot of sense.
How does it make sense?
Because now, I think number 1, the deliverance came. Especially on me and how to work around money and have financial discipline. Even if right now, I think the other day I sent Pendo somewhere. And I saw something, she was sending me photos and I saw something. On a normal day, she knows, I would have told her, how much is that thing? Bring it to me now. It wasn't even a lot of money, it was just like 2K. And I was like, okay, I don't have money for that. She was shocked. Like, you don't have money for this particular thing. Because on a normal day, it would be like, nah, yeah, just bring it to me, in as much as I don't plan for it. So right now, even 500 bob or even 200 bob.
It must be planned for.
Every coin must be planned for. So if I tell you I don't have money, now I understand when you say that statement. If I tell you I don't have money, it doesn't necessarily mean I am at 0. It means I don't have money for that particular thing.
So we used to fight a lot with that statement. I would tell her, I don't have money. But her mind would tell her, but I've seen your account. There's money. So
Again, remember trauma again.
one time I had to explain to her, when I say I don't have money, it does not mean I am zero. I don't have money could mean I'm at 1 million. I don't have money, according to me. I don't have money could mean I'm at 50,000. And according to me, I
That
do
is
not have.
minus
That
the
is
bare minimum.
Yes, that's below threshold. So, when your parents would also tell you they don't have money, then it doesn't necessarily mean they didn't have money. It means that they did not have money for that thing. But money was actually there. And that thing I learned from my pastor, my father, Pastor Jimmy. He told me that there is no free money. I think you're also there.
Yeah, I was.
Many years ago. He told
That's
me,
when he was explaining to me that story I was saying before.
yes.
Yes.
He said, there is no free money. What does that statement mean? That statement means if you take money from here, it means something that was supposed to be taken care of by that money will not be taken care of. So there's no loose money hanging somewhere. Every money is attached to something.
Yes.
So if you eat your school fees, you have no school fees, even though you have rent. If you eat your rent, you have school fees, but you have nowhere to sleep. You get what I mean? There's no free.
Money.
So financial intelligence is learning that there's no free money. Money is always attached to something. So when you tell your friends, I don't have money, you don't mean I am zero. You don't, okay, some of you maybe when you say you don't have money, you actually mean
I'm at zero.
I'm at zero, but I'm believing you'll become more financially prudent people and realize that when you say you do not have money, it doesn't mean you are at zero. It just means that there's no money for that particular thing. So, mistake number 3, not deciding what to do with huge lump sums of money.
Yeah. So I remember there are times we get huge lump sums of money, but we're like, let's just stay there. So sometimes we don't really need to go for holiday.
But because the money is
but
there.
because there's money, like, see, we just go to Mombasa. We go to Mombasa. Let's go to this place. We just go to this place. But if we're to be honest,
We
it
didn't have
wasn't really necessary as going to that place at that point with that particular money. It would have been better if it was invested elsewhere.
So that is what is called emotional spending.
Yes.
Because you feel like, see, we have this money over there,
And it's just lying
and
around.
it's just lying around. See, we go for holiday. That's one of the problems of being an emotional spender. So it's important for you to decide on huge lumps of money. So what we did is, I try my best not to have huge lump sums of money in my account. If you get my account, you realize that I only have very little money.
Pigwa
there.
ngeta, hakuna
Hakuna kitu. Because most of the money has been moved to
others.
other sources, other areas, maybe MMFs, different things. So to get that money, I'll need like 24 hours. And my paps taught me, if, for example, if you want to buy this water, you tell yourself, if this water really has to be bought, after 24 hours, if the need will still be there, that's when we'll buy it.
Yeah.
You get? So I don't buy it when you come and tell me, oh, like here in church, you guys come and say, oh, we need this. You notice that I'm not quick to buy. Because I've always been taught, I've been trained that there are some requisitions that are not necessary. If you just delay, people will find a way of solving
Carrying
that
it out.
issue. But if you always buy it at the spot of it, oh, they said, oh, these things are not working, we need to replace them, and you replace, you'll always be spending money, emotional spend. So he taught us many years ago that when something is supposed to be bought, delay. So when the money is not in your account, it's in another account that takes time to get it. If you want to buy shoes, you'll ask yourself, are those shoes really necessary? Am I walking barefoot? If in 24 hours you will not have found shoes to wear, buy. But I'm sure in 24 hours you'll have found other shoes to wear. So emotional spending is a mistake we made in our earlier years of marriage. And eventually we got a hang of it. Now we know how to go about it. So number maybe 6 now. Lessons learned over the years on finances.
The first lesson is anyone can be wealthy. You just need to apply yourself. And I'll give an example
Yeah.
of something you did to me this year.
Yeah.
So, my discipler decided to go all out with me when I think he has never really, he was always saying, save, 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 but he didn't explain to me why I need to. So, when he realized that I have gotten the hang of saving, one time, there's something I needed to get a certain gift for someone. And normally, if I could tell him, I need a gift for this person, normally he would give me the money. It wasn't really a big deal. So this time, he tells me, I'm not giving you any money. And I knew so well he had money. He was just from telling me, by the way, I have money on my M-Pesa. So I knew money is there. So I didn't need a lot of money, but it was a lot to me. So what did he do? He tells me, let me see your savings. I showed him my savings. He's like, I want you to buy this thing within a month without touching your savings. I was like, how can you be this unreasonable to me? How can you be like this? And then I realized, hiya, kumbe actually.
No, you get angry first.
Yeah, I get very angry. Like
Don't forget the main points.
Yeah, I get very angry
the main
because
points.
you're telling me I need to get this thing, And then again, you've given me a span of, I think it was like 4 weeks, a month. And I was like, wow, like, let's be serious. So I think later on I just decided, you know what? Let me just try and do what he's saying. As if that's not enough. He was supposed to do something else for me. He was like, you know what? Even that one, I am not going to do it. How much is it? I tell him. And he tells me, even that one, you're going to raise money, and I've given you 6 weeks to raise the money. Let me tell you, I've never been overstretched like that. And do you know what? In those 6 weeks, I had both of the things. And just before just before the 6 weeks ended, I told you there's this class that I want to do. So see, at least it's a class. So he should pay for me. Thanks.
Mimi mzazi wako.
Ulitoa kwa baba yangu. So he's supposed to pay for me. That's what I am used to. So he asked me, how much is it? I tell him the amount. Again, it was not kidogo money. It was a lot of money. Tells me, now see, you're done with these 2 things. So now, you're paying for that class. And again, you're not touching your savings. Hey, no, this is what I told him. You have killed me. If you want me to die, this is the time I'm going to die. And
Financially.
Financially. And he told me, you're not touching your savings again. Let me tell you, by the grace of God, I've realized there's so much money that goes through my hands that I did not have an idea of. Because I was always constantly saying, I don't have money. But I've realized in a span of like 3 months, the amount of money that has gone through my hands, the money is actually there. So anyone can be wealthy. Yes.
Anybody can be wealthy. You just need to apply yourself.
Yeah.
So she didn't think money is coming through her. But a lot of money was coming through her. But that money had no target.
Yeah.
It was free money. And remember, I've told you there's no free
Money.
Lesson number 2. Decide on your definition of wealth. Decide on your definition of wealth. What is wealth to you? Some people, their definition of wealth is cars. Some other people, their definition of wealth is houses. Some other people, their definition of wealth is traveling. Some other people, their definition of wealth is investments. So when you get married, because I know you are about to get married, or even now, with your beloved, you are sure you are about to get married with. Like, let's see where it goes. Yeah, boys, I'm talking about, let's try this thing out. No, I'm talking about the ones who you know we are about to get married. Decide on what
Definition of
wealth is to you. It's more like what I keep telling you, define what success is to you. So that when you arrive there, you know you have arrived. If you don't define what success is to you, if you don't define what wealth is to you, both of you will have different ideas of what wealth is. One will think wealth is having cars. So when they get money, they spend it on cars. Another one will feel like wealth is traveling. So when they have money, they spend on traveling.
Or expensive clothes.
Others will feel like being wealthy is wearing expensive clothes, getting expensive handbags and shoes. So what that will do is, you will never become wealthy, because what is not defined is abused. If you don't define it, you abuse it. So sit down and agree, what is the definition of wealth according to us? Now that we are married, because we are doing this life together, what is our definition of wealth? Is wealth driving expensive cars? If that's what wealth is to you, do you drive them? If wealth is investments, do you?
And I remember one time we were having a conversation with one of our friends, and they actually told us, because they're getting into their 40s, I remember them telling us one of the mistakes they did, they didn't really invest in assets. They decided to invest in big cars, traveling, living large. So they're coming to realize that
At a later stage
at
of
a
life.
later stage of their life. So I think that also
And that is because of not deciding
deciding what's their
what's the definition of wealth.
yeah.
Lesson number 3. Set your objectives. What's your journey? And what steps are you willing to take?
Yeah, so I think on this one, what I've seen it working for us, I remember one time we sat down. This was one of the hardest conversations I feel like we've ever had about money. And I remember you telling me we need to cut on the budget for this house. And I was so mad. I'm like, we are living on
What are we
bare
cutting?
minimum.
She was asking, what are we cutting? There's nothing we are cutting. I was like, we can always cut. She said, you don't understand. When was the last time you were in a supermarket? I said, I can't remember. You see, that's why you don't understand. Anyway,
Yeah, and I remember that was it was, I think for me, I would say it was harder than, you see the breakups we had in high school. That conversation was harder than that, to be honest. Because you get into a place where you're telling me, you know what? This is where we are going, and how are we going to get there? These are our objectives. We have to cut down on cost, how we are living, how we are spending money on these other things. We have to cut down to this amount. I was screaming. I was like, how is this even possible? But because of you being hard on it, I've actually realized the objective has been achieved.
we achieved what we wanted.
Yeah.
Because if you don't set objectives, you will never get steps to take you there.
Yeah.
Because objectives give you direction. So if you don't have an objective of what you want to achieve, you will not create steps to get you there. For example, you want to buy seats in your house. That should be the objective. So how are we going to buy new seats in this house? We are going to cut on bread,
Yeah.
maybe. We are going to cut on
Day bags.
day bags, maybe. And then that money that would have spent there, we save it for that. Look, God did not intend for us to live on miracles. If God intended for us to live on financial miracles, there will be no need of telling man, tend
The ground.
the ground,
Till the ground.
till the ground and tend.
Tend it.
He would have said, keep waiting for miracles, because I'll always supply. So it means the original design of God is that man, the Bible says you will eat from the sweat of your hands, right?
Yeah.
So the original design of God is that we work hard to eat. You understand? So if you keep saying, oh, ipo siku, one day, Pasi alisema we are receiving miracle money, wewe.
You cannot always be in need of a miracle.
Sometimes you must be the miracle.
Yeah.
The miracle must come from discipline. Do you know there are some miracles that come from discipline? You have been saving 50,000, maybe 10,000, 5,000, and then over a period of time, you have 5 million. Is that not a miracle?
It is.
But how did it come about? Discipline. So there are some miracles that should come from discipline. And discipline comes from a place of having an objective. What do we want to achieve? Is that okay? Number 4, get a reality check. Where are we at? Where are we at? How much are we worth? I remember one time I read the
SFFG.
book, and there's a chapter there that he talks about net worth. So I remember I sat down and calculated my net worth. I said, wow. I told my wife, hey, we are far below expectation.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah. And that was also a very tough conversation to have.
Yeah. I told her, hey, we are living a lie. I told her we have to decide, we have to ask ourselves, where are we at? Do you know you cannot go forward if you don't know where we were? Moving forward first starts by knowing, where am I? Where are we as a couple? Where are we as a family? We are at point X. Where do we want to go? Point Y. So what should we do to get to point Y? So you will never know where point Y is unless you ask yourself where point X is. So get to know where you are first as an individual. Asira, where am I as Asira? I earn this amount of money. How much goes into savings? How much savings do I have? And in the savings, another mistake we make is I feel like people save to spend.
Yes, that's a sinking fund.
That is what is called a sinking fund. We do not save to spend. Saving to spend is basically postponing your expenses. We save to invest. We save to
invest.
However, you can save to spend. You can have I'm saving for a TV. That's a sinking fund. When I talk about saving, I'm not talking about that kind of saving. I expect you do that. It's good. But I'm talking about now saving for your future. Remember I told you saving is doing what to your future? It's being generous to your future. And how do you become generous to your future? You invest. You invest. You start with small investments. I believe everybody can buy land here. There's land that you can buy. At your age, there's a land worth 50,000 somewhere that you can buy. I heard Apmo say this when we went for a proclaim. Nobody should tell you that that land is far. When they ask you that land is far, ask them far from where? Far from where? Because no land is actually far. If it is far from where?
Yeah.
Far from the city, okay. But me, I don't want land close to the city. Because what is far today will not be far tomorrow. I remember when my parents bought land, many years ago, it used to be far. Now it's a place where you take 5 or 10 minutes. You walk to that place.
Yeah.
But those days, it was far.
The bush.
It was a bush.
Yeah.
So nobody should tell you that it's far. So save for investment. You can invest as a young man. By the way, do you realize that now you have more money than you will have?
True story.
Now you have more money than you will have. I'm sure you're asking how. Now, for example, you guys have started working, many of you here, and you're getting your 50K salo. Maybe what comes after taxes, Kasongo has taken what is his, is maybe 35,000, right? 35,000, if you use the formula we use, what is 20% of 35,000?
14,000.
14,000.
Yeah. Oh, 7,000, yeah.
7,000.
Yeah.
So 7,000 times 12 is how much?
84.
So in a year, you have 84,000. What can you do with 84,000? Many things can be done with 84,000. Unaweza ununue, kama kwenu ni watu ni wazuri, unaweza ununue ng'ombe ya dairy. Ama ng'ombe ya nyama. Bull. Uilele, uiuze, upate pesa. Si ndio?
Yeah.
Hiyo ni investment. Ama uende ununue kaboda. Uanze unaendanga na boda yako job asubuhi. Jioni senye unaenda asubuhi unabeba mtu. So huyo mtu akikulipa 100 ama 200, hiyo unaweka fuel. So wewe una pesa ya fare. Hiyo pesa ilikuwa ya fare, so unaongeza kwa savings yako. Jioni ukirudi unambeba mwingine. Hiyo pesa anakupatia juu yaka mafuta asubuhi, sio mafuta itakupeleka na ikurudisha. Hiyo 200 iko juu unaweka kando, maybe ndio ya kuservice hiyo pikipiki. I remember kwa hiyo book ya Straightforward Financial Growth, he gives a story of a certain lady who was remember the story?
The CEO.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was not the CEO, she was in the
MD.
She was in the C level.
Yeah.
Either a CEO, CFO, or one on the C level, either MD. So she says, one time, of course, if you are the C level, you earn more than everyone in that organization. So they were earning a lot of money. But all the people who were earning a lot of money in that organization were in equal amount of debt.
Yeah.
So they had more loans. And then there were these guys who were earning less, like the drivers. But they had no loans. They had houses they had built.
And land somewhere.
And lands they had bought. So one time, she gets interested in how these guys survive. Because them, of course, if you are the C level, there's pressure to impress. So first of all, you go and get a very expensive house that you have no business living in.
4-wheel car.
In fact, recently I was having dinner with some CEO, and he told me that's the first trap they tried to put him into. They told him, now that you become CEO, you need to move from this area and go to that area and get that kind of house. He said, no. I know you people. I have seen your caliber before. So he was able to escape. But his predecessor did not escape. So his predecessor got a very expensive apartment that they tell you will pay for you for a few months, and then you'll start paying for yourself. And then in less than 3 years, because the thing is politically appointed, he was removed with a debt of like 80 million. So anyway, back to that other story. So the lady realizes, Allah, these guys seem to be living better than us. So what do? She starts having conversation with these guys. And then she realizes that even though she was earning more, she did not understand the money like these guys. So the driver became like the discipler of the CFO or somebody in the C level, and helped her get out of debt, helped her buy property, helped her build.
Yeah.
So my long and short is, just because money is a lot does not mean you are rich. My pastor taught me many years ago, people don't become rich by how much they get. You become rich by how much you keep how much you save. So don't think if your salary is increased, you'll become richer, Valerie. No. You become richer not by the money that comes into you, Tasha, but by how much you can keep from what comes into you. Number what?
5.
Number 5. Understand your money beliefs and where they come from.
I think we've literally talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can say it again. Understand where your money beliefs come from.
Yeah, maybe it's how you were brought up, the people you're around, how you saw them spending money. And what we don't know is that every atmosphere we are in, it affects us in a good way or a bad way. So even when it comes to money, maybe how you saw your folks dealing with money, or your siblings, or anyone that you lived with, or someone you're always around, it actually affects your money beliefs.
Maybe one of the books that I recommend you read is He That Hath. It answers this question so well.
Yes.
By Bishop Doug Heward Mills, He That Hath. There's a chapter there, why some countries become poor and why some people are not rich. One of it is the beliefs, money beliefs people have. One of the beliefs is people do not have a desire for a good life. They are okay with the kind of life they are living. Not everybody wants to have a good life. Even from this congregation, don't be cheated that everybody wants a good life. You might be the only one here who wants a good life. The others are wondering, why are we talking about at working harder? Harder for what? Si mi nyumba yangu ya 700 nishalipa. Why are we talking about traveling? Mi niko Kenya hata sijatembea yote. I'm okay. Why are we talking about going abroad? Abroad for who? Mi Kenya niko sawa.
Yeah. It also reminds me of a story that we were given by one of our friends of how, and I've also seen that in my family. This friend of ours was telling us that how our parents believe that money is coming is true. The dad was telling him, please pray for me that Kaloni Konako come through. So,
that friend is Pastor Mark. Pastor Mark who gave us that story.
Yeah, and I've seen also with my parents. My mom has told me that, there's a loan I have applied.
Believe with me, I'm believing God for a miracle.
I am believing God for miracles.
Do you know what the miracle is?
It's not a miracle.
It's not a miracle. They have applied for a loan.
Yes.
So they are believing God the loan matures.
Yes. So I think with that, I think it's just because we came to an environment where we don't believe in loans, that would have been us.
A belief.
Yes.
So we'll be saying, when we say, believe God for money, what you are understanding is,
loans.
or what you are hearing is, believe God for a loan to mature.
Yes.
When I say, God will give you money, what are you hearing?
Loans.
KCB is about to take care of your... But when I mean believe God for money, I literally mean believe God for...
money.
Lesson number 7. Is it number 7? Number 6. If you see money as the solution, you will find that it becomes the problem. If you see money as the solution, you will find that it becomes the problem.
Yeah, I think on that one, this is how I would go about it. For us, growing up, or how we have seen everything, we know that money caters for everything. Money is
answereth to all things.
Answereth to all things. But sometimes it's really not it's not the main thing. Because
Correct.
when you have, for example, let me give you a story that we were given by our director in school when I was in high school. He gave us a story of someone that anytime one of his friends or people he knows died, he wouldn't go for matanga or the burial. He would just send money. So one time, his wife died. What did people do? They sent money back to him because you don't show up when people are in need. They also sent money, and he was so mad that everyone was like, why couldn't you come and mourn with me? And everyone was like, but you have never come to mourn with any of us. So he had a problem with actually burying the wife. But at this point, he saw money as the solution. But the thing is, it actually became the problem because you have the money, but you don't have people to help you bury the person.
How do you see money as a solution when your God becomes money, mammon? The Bible says no man can serve two masters. You cannot serve money and serve God. So you need to be aware, first of all, who is my source? Is my source money or is my source God? If you consider your money as your source, that money will become a problem. Because money cannot be your source. God is your source. Money is just an avenue that God has provided to meet your needs. But that money is coming from who? From God. So money becomes the problem when you see it as the source. Yet your source is supposed to be who? To be God. And how do you know you have made God your source? When you pay your tithe. The first sign that you don't believe God is your source is when you don't pay your tithe. Because you ask, why should I pay my tithe? Because that is showing you that you actually believe God is your source. I believe that this has come from God. So I'm giving back to him what has actually come from me. Number 2, after you pay your tithe, you become generous. For he gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. Actually, I like that scripture in the TPT version. Would you please put it up for us on the screen? Please, it's Corinthians what? Is it there in the TPT? Yeah. The generous God who supplies abundant seed for the farmer, which becomes bread for our meals, is even more extravagant towards you. Look at that. The generous God who supplies abundant seed for the farmer, which becomes bread for our meals, is even more extravagant towards you. First, he supplies every need plus more. Then he multiplies the seed as you sow it, so that the harvest of your generosity will grow. So, money becomes your goal and your God when you are not generous, because you don't realize that the seed comes from God. It is him who supplies, and he becomes more generous towards you. Lesson number 7. Number 7. Hang around wealthy people and get to know how they think. Hang around wealthy people and get to know how they think. By the way, how many of us were told that we should not talk to rich people? Watu ni Illuminati. Wanajifanyanga sana. Have you heard those stories? What those people were doing to you, they were keeping you from becoming like those rich people. Because how will you know how they think unless you hang out with them? Because rich people don't think like us. Okay, I mean those who are not yet. Me, I want to be among those who are wealthy.
Yeah.
They don't rich people think differently. Like one time I was playing golf with some wealthy people. For a long time I used to think owning a house is a very important, and we used to fight with my wife. Because my wife was saying, no, we should not do that. Me, I would say, the first thing we need to do is build a house. So me, I used to think building a house and owning a house is success, number 1, and is the first thing you should do. Hey, then one time I'm playing golf with some rich guys, and Paps had invited me. And the guy just begins to have a conversation. He says, one of the financial mistakes I ever made was building this house in Karen. And the house is like 200 million.
And in a 2-acre piece of
in
land.
in 2-acre piece of land, big. Says that's the first mistake I ever made. I should have taken that money and built a flat, or there's some things he said I should have done, and that money would have given me more. Then the interest I was getting from that money, I would have rented a house. So I would not be having monthly expenses on this house. You said running this house is too expensive. Because if there is repair, I'm the one who does them. If there is this, so you'd rather first, the Bible says, prepare the field and then prepare your house. So what does that mean? If you're going to build a house, first build a house for rental, my opinion. Build what will bring income before you build a house to stay in. Because I remember Pops also told me, one of the reasons why it's not good to build the house at a young age is because your taste changes. Your taste changes over time. You're not yet too exposed when you are young. You've not traveled enough. After you've traveled enough, you realize, Usha notice Wakenya ujanganga the same.
Yeah.
All Kenyan houses look the
same. They went to the same school.
The architects are the same. The designs are the same. But if you travel a bit, you realize, there are better ways of building and cheaper ways. So you'd rather have built a home like flats for rental. And that money you'll be receiving, the interest you are receiving, you use it to rent and then keep building your portfolio. Then at the right time, build your house. That's my opinion. Your opinion might be different, and it's right.
Yeah, I also remember there's a time we met a 70-year-old. I don't know if you can remember, and we were having a conversation with this man. And we were asking him, I think, some of the mistakes he did when he was younger. And he told us the same thing. No, he actually said for him, what he decided to do when he was still working for the government, he bought a lot of lands.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the guy?
Remember the guy,
yeah, so he bought a lot of land. So right now, it's when he's actually enjoying the land, because now he can sell them. And then he went to a very far place to get it, at the most remote areas.
Yeah.
So right now, he's actually happy that he actually did it.
Now the lands that he was buying for like 50,000, now he says if he wants to dispose it is like 50 million. So it's a long-term investment. Lesson number 8 and the last one on this point. It is harder to manage yourself than it is to manage money. I'll let you take that.
It is harder to manage yourself.
You've suffered there.
Than it is to manage money. So I believe if you have struggled with money, there are other areas you've struggled with.
Correct.
For example, discipline. Discipline on everything. How you eat, how you have your quiet time, how you do basically everything. So when you're given targets, do you really hit your targets when you're given? It's a question. If you have struggled with money, you already know that's a no.
Mm-hmm. It is harder to manage
yourself
than it is to manage money.
Are you able to take care of your health, or you just eat anything that you feel it's there?
Like eating. One of the things I look out for in people to know how disciplined they are is money. How they manage money reveals to me how they manage themselves.
Yeah, and also realized you cannot be struggling with money and your prayer life is good.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
It is harder to manage yourself
than to manage money. So money is harder. Managing money is harder than managing your own life. Yeah.
So if you can master how to manage money, it means you've mastered how to manage yourself. So if you're struggling to manage money, you're actually also struggling to manage yourself.
Your own self.
Your discipline levels are bad.
Yeah.
You're the kind who eat when you want to eat, sleep when you want to sleep, work when you want to work.
Yeah.
Your discipline level is low. So teach yourself now that you've started working to manage money. Make money a servant and not a master. If you make money your master, then I'd like you to know that you will also struggle to manage yourself. You will even struggle to manage your sexual life.
Oh.
You will struggle to manage your appetites. You will struggle to manage everything else. But if you master how to manage money, you will master every other appetite. You understand what I mean? It is harder to manage yourself than it is to manage money. So let's talk about the law of trade-offs.
Yeah, so the law of trade-offs. So basically, when it comes to finances, the law of trade-offs, it means you have to give up to grow up. What does that mean?
Take it slow.
You have to give up to grow up.
The law of trade-offs says you have to give up
To grow,
grow
up.
When I was a child, I thought
like
a
a
child. But now that I have grown, I have put aside
My
childish
childish
ways aside. That's the law of trade-off. To grow up, you must give up. Continue.
Yeah. So I'll give an example of, let me use Asira. Asira is now working. Assuming Asira, before he started working, he was living in a house worth like 5,000. Now he's gotten this job and he's earning like 100,000. What's the first thing that you think a normal Asira would do?
Move to a bigger house.
There's someone telling me, grow up, grow up. It doesn't mean he's supposed to get now to go to a bigger house. So what Asira will do, he should stay in his 5,000 shillings house and save more money than he was actually saving before. And I'll give you a story on this one. There's a story I think you found me listening to that story over the weekend.
Yeah.
So there's this story that of a certain guy. He grew up, the mother died just before he got to campus. And when he got to campus, he got help for 19,000 shillings. He got help for like 50 Gs. But after his expenses, paying school fees here and there, he was left with 19,000 shillings. And during those days, there was no internet, there was no Facebook. So they used to go to the library to get newspapers. Of course, students being students, the first newspapers that will go is sports, the other ones, the headlines. So the newspapers that used to remain were the business newspapers, the ones that are usually in the middle, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he started taking the newspapers, he started reading about investments. So one day he saw this particular bank and he was like, okay, I'm interested in investments, let me walk in. So he walks in and finds a very young girl, she was like in her 20s. He says, I want to bring this money and I want to invest it in shares. So this guy, after finishing school, he gets a house around Arboretum. The house was 3 meters by 4 meters. I know it doesn't make sense because how is that bed gonna be? So over time, after investing that 19,000, he stayed in that house and his friends used to come to that house and make fun of him because even the bed, you have to make a bed for yourself, custom make your own bed. He stayed in that house for a whole 8 years and he got a job with KRA. He started earning hundreds of thousands and he was still living in this house. The house, I think, by then was 5,000 and then it went up to 10,000. He lived there for 10 years, even as much as he was earning hundreds of thousands. So what does that mean? This guy had all the chances to buy cars.
To enjoy
life.
like every other young man.
But he decided, I'll be saving 70% of my income. And after a few years, the lady who was interviewing him was going through the people who are getting their dividends. And do you know what? Do you know how much he was cashing out? 2.8 million.
Wow. From 19,000?
From 19,000, he was cashing out 2.8 million. And this lady was like, she's a banker, but she was like, no, you have to explain to me how we left 19,000 to this amount of money. So that's how I actually came to realize the law of trade-off. You have to live below your means for you to get what you want. And at that point, what happened? There was a certain building that was coming up and he needed an office. So what he needed 6 million. And that's the investments he had. So he didn't have to take a loan for any investment. He just took his 2.8 million, put it as a deposit, and that's how he owned an office.
You have to give up,
grow up.
So see trade-offs as opportunities for growth. Trade-offs are with us throughout our life. You will always, at every stage of your life, there will always be a trade-off to make. So what happens is, unsuccessful people make bad trade-offs. Average people make few trade-offs. Successful people make good trade-offs. John Maxwell teaches about this law, the law of trade-off. You must be a master of making good trade-offs. If you make bad trade-offs, you will get bad results. You will, for example, if you're a young man, the Bible says, serve the Lord in your youth. For a day comes when you will say it is, what does that scripture say? It's not pleasant. what does that scripture say in Ecclesiastes? Someone, it is good for a man, yeah. It is good for a man to bear the yoke in his youth. It is good. Because a time will come where your bones will grow old and you can't serve God. So the law of trade-off is you must realize that it is good for you to bear the yoke in your youth. Which yoke? Number one, the yoke of serving God. Invest in serving God.
Yeah.
In your youth. Do you know why I'm seated here talking to you? I made trade-offs when I was a little bit younger, in my early 20s. When my peers were enjoying life, katiaring, dondosaring, twerking, I was in the house of God serving him. When they are dundaing, I was in the house serving God. So, fast forward, what I gave up led me to grow up.
Yeah.
Now, they cannot be anywhere near where I am, even if they wanted, because they refuse to give up some things, because you have to give up some things to grow up. You have to ask yourself, this 80,000, what can it do? Number one, it can buy me food, a lot of food. I can make people happy.
Yeah.
There's a fraisha umati. Number two, it can also be the starting point of a huge investment. Even yesterday, I was watching a story of Peter Monga, the founder of Britam. I think you found me watching it. He says how he ended up being a shareholder of Britam and how it became big. He started from a small place as well. Little money, I can't remember how much he said, but it was little money. And now he's a billionaire. How did it start? Small. The Bible says, despise not the days of small beginning, for the Lord rejoices in them. That's the law of trade-off. Despise not the days of small beginning. Stop saying this money is kidogo. There's no kidogo money. When we are doing the miracle offering, stop saying, Mimi, I'll do mine when I have a lot of money. No. Start now. Start now. Start being generous with God now. You are trading off something. And at a point, you will see the growth coming back. But if you don't do that, if you don't learn those things, you will not grow up. Remember, the law of trade-off says you must give up to. You must give up. We've had to give up many things. Not like we are. By the way, you're not talking from a place of perfection.
No.
We are using our stories to teach you.
Yeah.
See, we are your disciples. So we are using our story to teach you. So you will see us make mistakes, learn from our mistakes. You will see us make good decisions, improve those good decisions, and make them better decisions. That's the whole goal of this. Are we together? So remember, you have to give up something
To grow up.
to grow up. So what trade-off questions do you have to ask yourself? What trade-off questions are you willing to ask yourself? Number one, you can go ahead.
Am I willing to give up my financial security today for potential tomorrow? Am I willing to give up my financial security today for potential tomorrow?
That means you have to slash budgets. You have to stop eating out. You have to stop unnecessary holidays. You have to stop buying more cars to be able to invest. I remember one time I told my wife, we will not buy another car unless we do A and B.
And I was very mad.
And she was very mad, of course. But after we did that, we were able to.
Thank you for doing this.
She was happy that we did that.
Yeah.
And now we were able to get another car. But what is the point of having two cars that are taking money from you and you've not done what you need to do? So, am I willing to give up my financial security today for a potential tomorrow? Why do you have to live? I remember one time someone came and told me, Pasi, I found this house, it's a 2-bedroom house. I'm paying this much amount of money. I asked them, why do you have to live in that house? Mali huko imekushinda. You are still single, you are alone. Why do you want to live in such a big house? Why do you want to spend 15,000 in a house? Si ubaki tu hapo kwa 10,000, hiyo 5K iko juu. Assume that I pay 15,000 rent. So this 5,000 every month goes into a fund that I have. So I throw the money there. Recently we were being there's calculations we were doing here with, what's the name of that guy? Andrew. Of the guy who was investing, how much was it? 10,000 every month. And then he's doing 30 years. He received whatever, you can go and listen to it. It was recorded. He received much more. That is what you need to ask yourself. Am I willing to give up my security now for a potential tomorrow? Number 2, am I willing to give up immediate gratification for financial growth? Am I willing to give up immediate gratification
For financial growth. I think that came in. Sometimes we're like, this year I have to achieve, I have to go to this place. So for us, there was a rule that every year we have to go outside the country. And I remember it was a rule, every year we had to go out. So we got to a place where, at this point in our lives, do we really have to go out of the country every year? We had to cut down on that and be like, this amount of money that was supposed to go out, because we still have it, let it go to another place. You see, no one doesn't want to go for holiday, right?
Everybody wants.
Yeah.
Wangapi wataka holiday?
Even me, I want.
Aya, utaki holiday? Hata sahi. I want a holiday.
Now.
I remember, I think you either showed me or I saw a video. Someone was saying, I want a holiday to help me come back from my holiday.
My holiday, yes.
I want my holiday. Oh, I think it was Joy. She was telling me she sent me that kamim. I want a holiday to help me deal with my hangover from the holiday.
From the other holiday. Yeah. And have holidays that are 6 months for 2 years.
Yeah, have holidays that are 6 months for 2 years.
2 years.
That means you not work.
Yeah.
Give up something today for your tomorrow. Have delayed gratification. Number 3. These are questions you need to ask yourself.
Am I willing to give up a fast life for a good life? Am I willing to give up a fast life for a good life?
For a good life.
So this could be, you have, like what Percy was talking about, that his CEO friend who was told, live where you live, or like move from where you live and go and live in this particular estate or
Because
this particular area because you're now CEO. Because mind you, where he lives, he has actually built, right?
Yeah.
So he's stable. So he's being told to live his normal life to go and start paying rent somewhere. So
Because he's now CEO.
Because he's now CEO, and of course the money is more, the benefits are more. So you have to ask yourself such questions. You see, for him, he's a very wise man. He decided, I'm not gonna do this. Wherever I live is a very good house. I don't really need to move. He decided not to upgrade his cars, because most of the times you see people want a fleet of cars in their compound, more workers. He decided to live his life just as he was living.
So he gave up a fast life for a good life.
For a good life.
There's always a temptation of wanting to appear rich.
Yeah.
You know, there are 2 types of riches. There are people who are rich, and there are people who have the appearance of riches. And the Bible gives us that example in the story of the prodigal son and the elder son. The Bible says when the prodigal son came back home, what was he given? A staff,
and
a robe, and a ring. And then he looked like he was rich, right?
Yeah.
Because, of course, clothes make you look rich. Stuff make you look good. A ring makes you expensive. Rich people have very big, expensive rings, right? So you look like you are rich. But the real wealth went to who? To the elder son. The father told him, all that is mine is yours. All that is mine. The real wealth went to that boy. And he said to him, son, you are always with me. And all that I have is yours. So ask yourself, do you want to have the appearance of wealth or actually have wealth? Do you want the fast life or the good life? Do you want the fast life or the good life? So give up your fast life for a good life. Number 4, am I willing to give up security for a good life? Again, am I willing to give up my security for a good life? You want to say something?
Yeah, I think that one you've also come out, like you've taught me that a lot. Because I remember, again, there's an investment we needed to make. And I was in dire need of a car. And you were like, there's no way we're going to do this thing. We have to get this thing first before getting you a car. And I was like, do you really understand what exactly this means to me? And again, I was very mad. Because I felt like, when I have a car, I'm able to move around and all. But I remember him telling me, this thing is not going to make sense now, But in 2 years from now, it's going to make sense. And I'm glad that you actually decided to choose on security first than a liability.
Liability, a good life.
Yeah.
Because many people want that. You are willing to sacrifice most important things for a good life. Wataka kununua laptop expensive. Not because you need it, but niutishie umati. You know, I have a MacBook. And your work can be done by a HP. And you invest that other money.
Yeah.
But you want to tishia people. Wajua mimi niko na iPhone 16 wewe. Yo. Na ukienda hapo upige nyongo leo iPhone 16 iende.
Una gari ya kukupeleka.
Hauna gari ya kubeba hiyo iPhone 16. But you see, you could have put that money in something else.
Yeah.
Unganunua simiti, yani uone Pastor Victor. Mwambie Pastor Victor nataka kubai masimiti. Utanisaidia? Ama utawasaidia? Pastor Victor anafanya kazi ya simiti kila siku.
Those ones the plug.
Hata leo ametoka huko. Lazima anuse simiti.
There's the wife.
Says the wife, lazima anuse simiti. Akinusa anakuwa haya, nasikia. Haya, iko sawa. Different people have different highs. Yake ni ya
Simiti.
hiyo ni bamburi ama ni triangle?
Blue triangle.
Anasema anataka blue triangle. Mimi natoanga lock na blue triangle. Go and see him, help you. He will help you. He's doing many projects. Number 5, am I willing to give up addition for multiplication? Am I willing to give up addition for multiplication? That is to mean, am I willing to... Addition is saving in the bank. Multiplication is investing. Invest the money in right things. Invest money where money comes. I remember one time, we were with Cecilia, and we had gone to, I think she was telling me about some proposition from what the bank was saying about something. Then I told her, do you know these people take this money and put it here? And they make more money, and it is us who have given them the money. I said, why don't we ourselves put this money here? Instead of us taking our money, we put it there. No. Oh, this is where they put their money. Instead of me giving the bank money to put there, let me just go direct. So I said, I told Cecilia, open a money market account for yourself, for your, of course, self, I mean husband and wife, and put your money there. I opened mine, I put my money there. I told my wife, I told most of the people around me, my disciples, all of these guys, you know them, put money here. And then, as long as it's secure, usiende kuweka mali ujui.
Yeah.
Go talk to a financial analyst like Andrew. It's Andrew who helped us, by the way. Talk to him. He will give you the correct one. So he gave us this. This has good portfolio, so it's good. Utaenda kuweka yenye unaona kwa TV.
Imetokea juzi.
Ati inasema sijui iko na
18%.
Wewe. You will be calling my name at night. So lastly, we've come, I think, to the last point. Big wins in finances. What do you think are the big wins of anybody who wants to become financially stable? As a couple, if you're married, if you're beloved, if you're looking towards getting married, and yeah.
Number 1, it has to be working together.
Work together.
Yeah, work together, like have the same goal, have the same vision. If you are going this way, don't give a direction of this way. Like we have to follow one direction. Yeah, so that if you want a car, I want a fridge. There's no argument. We already know if it's a fridge we are buying, it's a fridge we are buying. If it's this microphone we are buying, we are all saving towards a microphone. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Work together. The Bible says 2 are better than 1. For when one falls, he will lift the other. So work together. Get it clear. Work together. See, this is where we want us to go. Let's go there. Do you know what division is? Division just means division. Di means 2. Dicotyledonous. Monocotyledon. Di is 2. So division is simply 2 visions. So instead of having divisions, have one vision. Monovision. Vision. Number 2.
Learning about wealth and investments together.
Learn about wealth and investments together. What I try to do with Pastor V here, when I get a book on wealth, finance, I try and give her the same book to read. Because it is very dangerous to be knowing something that your partner does not know.
True story.
You will try to explain to them. They will think you are a very bad guy. They will think you are a very bad guy. So I've tried, and that I learned from Paps some years ago. He said, try and grow with your wife. So I try my best to grow with her. So all the books I've read, the time I was told you, I started reading on finances.
Yeah.
Christian writers who have written on finances. Bishop Doug, Chris Walton, many guys. All the books I have read, I've made sure she has read. Some of them she's behind, because I move quite fast, but I'm sure she's not too behind. She at least knows certain things together. That's why we see we can have this conversation together. Wewe na mtu wako mnaweza?
It's a question.
Number 3,
Saving and investing together.
save and invest together.
So again, unity. Like you're saving towards a certain goal. And you're saving to invest, not saving to spend. Yes. So we actually know our next goal is X, Project X. After Project X, it's Project Y, and we have to be in unity. This is exactly what we want to do.
This is where we are going.
And actually, I've come to realize, like, we were having a conversation, I think it was last week. It's something I've always wanted to do for over 10 years. And every time was like, no, we're going to lose money on this thing. So what I decided, at that point, I could actually do it. But I decided to hold. But right now, when we were having a conversation, we actually realized we can actually do this thing now. You see, this thing, it's been there for 10 years. For him, it was like, no. But right now, he's at a place where he feels like we can both do it together. Yeah, so, and I can see the blessing is actually coming, that one person doing it. Yeah.
Number 5, achieve the same goals. Achieve the same goals. Kwenye the goals same. Try and achieve same goals. Like, for example, we decided every year, apart from the miracle offering, every year we give a fast fruit. So we decided every year we are going to be doubling it. Doubling it. We started
from the previous year.
We started in 2023, I think.
The first time was 2019, actually.
But 2019, but those ones were
low.
Yeah.
So 2022.
So 2022 was the one that started making, of course, it starts with
Kidogo. Yeah.
And Kipanda. So 2019 was little. So I always liked going to take to my pastor. And at first, I never used to tell him what it's for. It's me and Victoria who knew what we were doing. And I think at a point we mentioned that it's our goal. So every year I like doing it. I like doing it every year. And I've seen when I do it, God doubles my
income. Or even triples, actually.
Or sometimes even triples. Yeah. I remember there's a video I shared with you of the Jew, how the Jew, what was the name? How the Jew make money. And you remember how the Jews are one of the richest people in the world, eh?
Yeah.
And one of it is they would go and see their rabbi every year. And they would ask the rabbi, how much would you want me to give this year? You remember?
Yeah.
And they would give. And the guy says that every year he would double it. He would double. Yeah. Now, they are rich. Jews are rich like crazy. In fact, he gives a story of how he felt like it is time for me to leave my family's business and start my own. And he went to the rabbi, and the rabbi showed him the process. Told him, they call it zakat, I think, if I remember clearly, give X amount. So that's where we got it. So try and get the same goals together, achieve them together. Is that okay? And remember, 50% expenses, 20% savings, 10% tithe, 10% sacrificial giving. The other 10% offerings. God did not design you live on miracles. So stop trying to say, mimi naishingi na miracle. Miracles will happen. I believe in miracles. However, God also designed that we live by hard work.
Time to till the land.
The Bible says, manna has ceased. It is now time to till the land. So a time comes when manna is not coming. It's time to till the land. So the miracle of that time is the miracle of discipline. Are we together? So get to understand, now I'm in the face of miracle by manna or miracle by tilling the land. Any parting shot before we go to questions?
I think the other thing is, once you've learned that discipline, we will not be like what we've seen in our families. Some of us, we already know we are our parents' pension plan, right? Ama, I'm talking to Sinukweli. Ama, your parents were their parents' pension plan. We've seen that, right? Some things have to end with us. You have to decide that, you know what? I'm not going to be my parents' pension plan. I mean, my children are not going to be my pension plan. How are you going to learn about it? Start cultivating the discipline of saving now. Because I've come to realize, by the way, most of the rich and the wealthy, they actually support their children. Even when, for example, they're getting married or they're actually married, they need to get a certain property. Sometimes they'll come in and actually help. We already know our families, how they are like, right?
Wewe unajua.
You already know. We don't have to get into
najua.
the details. Yeah, and the Bible says that a wise man leaves a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. So I think what we've decided is we're actually not thinking about Judah. We are thinking about Judah's children. And once you think about Judah's children, of course, that means Judah has something and his children have something. And one of the people we actually follow at one time said, he's an old man that we really like hanging out with. And he said, me, the money I have is not for my children. This one goes to my grandchildren. So that we all know that the grandchildren have something they are taking. So,
he's a father of someone, one of us, but he's a very old man. So we like his stories.
So that's what he says. So everything that we're going through, it has to end with us. Every bad trait that you've seen in our families, around where we live, it has to end with us. And we have to start a new generation. The Bible says that in the days of Eli, the word of God was rare. At least in our days, we will not say it's like we're in the days of Eli. We're in the days of Pastor Bonnie. The word of God is actually here with us.
You've
you
heard.
Already know, you have heard it. So live it.
And we are having this conversation, especially because we've started earning now. We're in that phase. Money has started coming. You've gotten your first gig. You have to money coming here. If you do not get this habit now locked, you're entering into a rat race, just like your parents. By the time you know it, you have done the same mistakes they did. And that's what I don't want us. I want the bad traits to end with us. So I think that's it for tonight. I hope you've learned a thing or two.